I'm Xavier Perry. I'm a senior, and I played Jay in Lost in Yonkers.
My name's Maddie Muller. I'm a junior and I play Grandma Kernitz in Lost and Yonkers.
I'm Ben and I played Artie in Lost in Yonkers.
Can anyone tell me a little bit about what the play's about?
The play is about these two kids who have a widowing dad, and it takes place in the middle of World War II. And the dad needs to make money to pay off his debt to a loan shark. So he has to find a job. Then he has to give his kids to his mother to look after them. And the mother, a very strict old lady, tries to make these boys into functioning adults.
Ben said it really well. It's the back and forth between a father trying to take care of his kids by himself after his wife died and has to pay off her medical bills from loans that he took out from a guy he shouldn't have taken them out from. And he gets a great job, but he can't be with his kids because he has to travel all over the United States. And so he goes away, his kids stay with grandma, and grandma lives with the kids' Aunt Bella, who is a ditzy woman who's just trying to live her life as best she can, but under the thumb of grandma.
There's just like deep-rooted family problems, and then by the end of the play, they're able to like face those problems and work through them.
You all had to use accents that are not like your natural accents in this play. Was that hard? Like, was that hard to learn in your accent?
So difficult.
Well, me being a very young kid in the play, I could use a very minor accent because I'm kind of still learning to speak.
Yeah, accent was definitely difficult. I don't know how to do a New York accent and fit it into like a Jewish New York. I was very, very confused. And then it started speaking like that outside of the play. And naturally, it just kind of kept coming out. Like if you hear me say for sure, I'm going to say for sure.
Yeah, same. It was really, really weird because my character is supposed to have like a accent that, I don't know, transformed into English. And so they also had like a bunch of words that were German that I don't speak German, so I don't even know how to say those.
Okay, so I have some questions about rehearsal and stuff during COVID. How did you do that during COVID? How did that work?
It was very hard. The first few weeks we did all online, and then the week prior to the play, we did in person. We did 2 in person at the school and then 2 in person at Aspinwall. It was a mix of both. It was very hard because it's hard to know if you're muted or if you're whatever. So it just like made it so hard to be able to give good feedback.
What we're doing right now, this was the format of rehearsals. Just kind of sitting there with your script. You're like, okay, did they finish? Oh, they cut out and you didn't know if they finished their line. A lot of me was like, they're saying the line right before mine and they cut out completely. And then they go back and I'm like, I'm just going to time this out and then say my line. Like in the moment, it was very difficult. And it's harder to know your cue lines and how to respond to one another when you're so distant.
There was a lot of like pauses in between lines because you were waiting for someone else to like hear that you said the line. So it took a lot longer than I think it would have in person.
For sure. I think even with the time constraint that we had, like we did really only have 4 weeks to do this. It was really fast. But I think though we had a time constraint, if we were in person, it would have been smoother because those pauses led to a lot of pauses within being in person. You know, someone would say the line and we were so used to not being very quick with our lines back and forth because there was just so much space due to technology that it wasn't as fast and witty as it could have been via the way we were rehearsing and stuff. So it just made it even more difficult to really be on top of your lines and know what other people are saying.
And it was really difficult for especially Christiane to give us critiques and directions and stuff because she wasn't sure if like we were messing up because of our internet connection or if we were like saying it wrong.
The first time you guys rehearsed in person after being online for so long, how was that transition? Ben, I know you're a freshman, so you probably hadn't met many of them in person.
I was worried that the kids wouldn't think that I was fun or whatever. I didn't know if they would think I was like an annoying little kid. So I was worried about that kind of thing.
We love you, Ben. We love you.
What were the new challenges that you faced, maybe that you wouldn't have faced in plays before?
Such a short time period. We never do it this quickly.
It was very hard to get everything done that fast. In the end, I feel like even though some of us missed some lines, some of us didn't know our cues correctly, it turned out as good as any of us could hope.
COVID just really shifted around the way we had to think about rehearsals. Like I've been in play for the last 3 years, so this is my 4th year, and no other play has been like this. It was just a mix match of new challenges, being outside, being next to a train, being like freezing cold the whole show, but pretending to be in a scorching hot house.
That's actually a perfect example of the improv that we had to do. Our second show, Christiane went up to me and said, Ben, if there is a train during the show, everybody will stop, and your job is to just act super excited like a little kid seeing a train.
The whole thing was just a new experience. Personally, like I've never done a show outside, and so you really had to be louder than you normally would. We didn't really have body mic. We had just those standing mics just for where we were, and you still had to like yell your lines out. And when you don't have that, you have to kind of adjust the sense of how you're performing, and you have to overdo certain things. And so it was just a really different process on how to make a play.